Greetings from the land down under. Okay, I know I am really late with this episode, but I was having some really bad technical problems earlier this week, so now I'm here, and I have a video blog for you. Good news, I am sick no more. I'm basically done being sick, and that was a nightmare, that was a trial, but God taught me a lot through it, and now I am completely and totally all better. You can tell that I have an interesting background behind me. I thought I'd do this episode in the dance studio. Why? Because we have a dance studio, which is awesome because we have a dance studio. And other things including, but not limited to, cafe, multiple lecture and meeting rooms, a prayer room that's pretty awesome, and all that good stuff. So it really is a good base, it's a big base, and it's located in kind of a suburban, more inland part of Sydney. The neighborhood is really interesting, it is. Speaking of which, we just did some street evangelism earlier today, which, I mean, going door-to-door street evangelism is not my forte, but, I mean, you know, I think it's important for a Christian to at least sample and experience every facet and area of outreach. So we went door to door and talked about Jesus and talked about an upcoming Christian crusade event. It was good. We handed out a lot of flyers and talked to a lot of people. Other groups had great feedback. It was a good time. Other things that we've been up to, this base just sent a team to the United States of America, you guys, so they're going to figure out what it's like there and do a lot of ministry there on the West Coast, so they get to experience the wonderful things that they've never had before, like In-N-Out, Chick-fil-A, and all that other amazing, wonderful American food that we all know and love. So that was awesome just to be able to send them off. The base is so big that you know, we have several teams going at the same time, several things going on at once. There's the School of Worshiping Warriors, our DTS, another DTS, a group of boys from the Solomon Island that are actually in a band together, and they're going to do a tour of the South Pacific and spread the gospel through music. And beforehand, they're going to be teaming up with us and our DTS and the DTS we're already teamed up with here, which is another really great group of people. We actually just finished a huge conference. There was like over 100 people at this thing. It's called Nations to Nations. We had 3 different speakers. One of them was the YWAM director for all of South Africa. And then there was the YWAM director of a base out in Switzerland. And then, of course, the director here of this base, the Sydney base. And it was really cool. Like I said, it's called Nations to Nations, so you can guess that the theme is nations! Which at first I really didn't understand, like, okay, what are you going to teach us about nations over the course of an entire week? But by the end, I mean, I really got it. It was a really good message. It was just a really great conference. I mean, there was a lot of powerful stuff going on, really just realizing God's plan for the nations and just the beauty of other cultures and how it all comes together to glorify God. It was a great week. Which leaves us now back in the usual grind of things. We're getting used to this base here, which actually won't last that long because soon we are leaving for Newcastle, which is 2 hours north of Sydney. We're going to be part of a week-long conference up there, and then we'll be coming back down for 2 weeks to stay at a church that's in Sydney, and so that'll be interesting. We'll be doing a lot of ministry through that church. So we'll be very on the move, very busy, and then of course, you know, after that we're going to be going to Vanuatu and back to the Cook Islands, and there's just a whole lot of things going on. We've actually become a very mobile DTS, which is great. I mean, getting around and just seeing different cultures, and I mean, it's a really fantastic experience just being able to see so much of the South Pacific region over such a short amount of time. One thing I've really noticed about the difference between the mission field and just, you know, everywhere else, like the church and just, you know, our local communities, is that there are way more miracles and amazing things happening here. What I mean to say is that there are just some things that I have seen that are absolutely incredible. As you guys know, especially my supporters, that YWAM is kind of a fund-it-yourself kind of thing. They don't really pay you, the staff, the directors. There's no one in all of YWAM over the entire world that receives a salary. It's all, provide your own funding, which for a full-time missionary is not an easy thing at all. So it's incredible how you get to see all these different ways that God just pulls it all together. I mean, I've heard the saying, do God's work God's way and you'll never lack God's supply. But I've never seen it more real and more like just happening and happening and happening than out here. I mean, this is crazy. One of the band members of the Solomon Island Boys was $1,980 short of what he needed to get out here. And the last day that he could have gotten the money all together, the deadline, he's still short all that money. And he's walking down the street and he finds $2,000 just sitting there on the street, $2,000 in a little baggie. And I mean, they even turned it into the police. The police is like, keep it. And I mean, God just provided right there. Another one, a guy that's here right now, he was lacking over $6,300. That's how much he needed for the rest of his outreach fees and lecture phase fees. And he was getting up to that point where he wasn't going to be able to go on the outreach, and he was going to be in a lot of trouble because he just didn't have the money. And the week that the rest of the team was going to leave without him, random person, just walked into the base and paid $7,000 on his behalf. Didn't even know him. No idea who this guy was. And we're getting these kinds of stories like all the time. Like this is a weekly basis. That's what's happened in the last week alone, this week. And I'm learning a lot about just finances in the mission field. Because God could just, he's going to be a missionary, so I'll just make him win the lottery. Why doesn't God do that? And it's because when we're generous to each other, when we're giving to each other, it's not only a humbling experience, it not only blesses both parties, but it builds a relationship. And overall, when you have a lot of different, donors, a lot of different supporters, it kind of creates this interdependent thing within the Christian community, which is what God wants. And that's exactly what I have with a lot of you guys that support me. And all of this is really having a huge effect on me personally. Probably the biggest one is just my entire approach to the Bible. I mean, I can't get to bed before 2 in the morning every night, which is after the rest of you guys in America wake up, because I just can't put that book down. I'm sitting there just reading the Bible into the wee hours of the evening, and it's like my opinion of it, my approach to it has totally changed. It's like I'm reading this thing, and it's a completely different book. I'm amazed. It's like, is this the same book that I've had access to, that I've been reading since I was like this big? I mean, oh my gosh. Just blows me away. Oh my gosh. So anyways, guys, I love hearing from you guys, so this right here is my email, so please email me. I love hearing from you guys. And you can also Facebook me. I'm pretty easy to find. And if your name is Kyle McNeil, then you should get your butt on making me a video of you. Anyways, I love you guys. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your support. And I'll have another video blog out for you guys next week. So until then, adios.